to this first press conference in response to Hurricane Erin. We're going to jump right into the briefing. And to do that, I will invite Mr. Geoffrey Greene from the Department of Meteorology.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is the latest alert, alert number 7 on Hurricane Erin, issued by the Bahamas Department of Meteorology today at noon. Erin's outer bands are producing gusty winds, heavy rains, and thunderstorms across the Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Virgin Islands and Puerto Rico. A tropical storm warning is now in effect for the Turks and Caicos Islands. A tropical storm watch is now in effect for the Southeast Bahamas. This includes the islands of Inagua, Mayaguana, Acklins, Crooked Island, Samana Key, and Long Key. A tropical storm warning means that tropical storm conditions are expected somewhere within the Turks and Caicos Islands within 36 hours. A tropical storm watch means that tropical storm conditions could be experienced somewhere within the Southeast Bahamas within 48 hours. At 11 a.m. today, the center of Hurricane Erin was located near latitude 21.0 degrees north and longitude 67.4 degrees west, about 240 miles east of Grand Turks and Caicos Islands, 338 miles east of Matutang, Inagua, 321 miles east-southeast of Mayaguana, and 597 miles southeast of New Providence. Hurricane Erin is moving towards the west-northwest at near 13 miles an hour. This motion with a decrease in forward speed is expected today, followed by a gradual turn to the north on Monday and Tuesday. On the forecast track, the center of Erin is expected to pass to the east of the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Southeast Bahamas tonight and Monday. Maximum sustained winds are at 125 miles an hour with higher gusts. Erin is a Category 3 on the Saffir-Simpson scale, and fluctuation in intensity are expected over the next day or two due to the inner core structural changes. Erin is growing in size. Hurricane-force winds extend outward up to 25 miles from the center, and tropical storm-force winds extend outward up to 205 miles from the center. Residents in the Turks and Caicos Islands should begin to make preparations for possible tropical storm-force conditions beginning late tonight and early Monday morning. Residents in the Southeast Bahamas should begin to make preparations for this tropical storm conditions for Monday morning. These conditions include feeder bands from Erin with showers and thunderstorms, inclusive of strong gusty winds up to tropical storm force up to 35 to 40 miles an hour, heavy rainfall, and tropical or tornadic activity with hail. Rainfall in amounts of 3 to 6 inches with isolated amounts of 8 inches is expected from the outer bands of Erin, and they will affect the Turks and Caicos Islands and the Southeast Bahamas. Swells generated by Erin will begin to affect the Turks and Caicos Islands this afternoon through the night. The swells will spread into the central and northwest Bahamas on Monday and Tuesday. Mariners should remain in port until the end of the week, as the seas should become extremely rough and dangerous during this time. Residents in the central Bahamas should closely monitor alerts issued by the Bahamas Department of Meteorology and be ready to make preparations for possible tropical storm conditions in the next few days. And the next alert will be issued at 3 p.m. today.
Thank you, Mr. Greene. I'd now like to call to give remarks the Minister of State with responsibility for disaster risk management, the Honorable Leon Lundy.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for being here today as we provide an update on Hurricane Erin and its potential impacts on the parts of the Bahamas. This is not about creating alarm. It is about ensuring our people remain informed, prepared, and protected. At this time, the Bahamas Department of Meteorology has issued a tropical storm warning for the Turks and Caicos Islands and a tropical storm watch for the southeast Bahamas, including Inagua, Mayaguana, Auckland, Crooked Island, Samana Key, and Long Key. While Erin is expected to pass to the east of these islands, its size and strength mean that our outer bands will bring tropical storm force winds, rainfall, and rough seas. Earlier this morning, the Prime Minister and the Leader of the Opposition were briefed on the tropical storm watch for these southeastern islands and our preparatory plans for them. Our goal is clear: to stay ahead of this storm and to ensure readiness across our islands. The Disaster Risk Management Authority is closely monitoring Erin's track, and we are in full coordination and cooperation with the Family Island administrators and our emergency support function groups. Each has been asked to review and activate their preparedness plans as needed. For residents in the southeast Bahamas, this means being prepared for the possibility of tropical storm conditions beginning late tonight and into Monday morning. This includes gusty winds, heavy rainfall, and possible localized flooding. Mariners are strongly advised to remain in port, as seas will become extremely dangerous over the coming days. For residents, again, in the central and northwest Bahamas, there is no immediate cause for alarm. However, it is vital for you to remain attentive to the updates from the Med Department and be ready to make preparations if the need arises. As we often say, we do not panic, but we do prepare. That is why we are issuing these precautionary measures now, so that no one is caught off guard. I want to thank our agencies, administrators, and first responders for their continued readiness. With the peak of hurricane season upon us, our vigilance must remain high. Let us continue to monitor official advisories, support one another, and ensure that every Bahamian family is positioned to weather this storm safely. May God continue to keep the Commonwealth of the Bahamas safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Minister. I will now ask our Managing Director of the Disaster Risk Management Authority, Mr. Aarone Sargent, to give additional remarks.
Good afternoon. Over the past 2 weeks, the Disaster Risk Management Authority, in close coordination with our partners at the Bahamas Department of Meteorology, has closely monitored the weather disturbance, which has now developed into a major Hurricane Erin, currently reported as a Category 3 storm. As outlined by our colleagues at the Department of Meteorology, Hurricane Erin is growing in size, and tropical storm force winds extend as far as 205 miles from center. As advised by the BDM, a tropical storm watch is in effect for the southeastern islands of Mayaguana, Inagua, Crooked Island, Auckland, Samana Key, and Long Key. A disaster alert was issued to all Bahamian residents in the southeastern Bahamas at 10:30 a.m. this morning. Residents in the southeast are advised to conclude preparations today, as tropical storm conditions, including gusty winds, thunderstorms, and rough seas, may be experienced as early as tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. The DRM team stands ready to respond and has partially activated the National Disaster Emergency Operations Center, NDEOC, as of 12 noon today. In addition, at 12 noon, we fully activated the Southern Islands, their incident command centers, and again, which includes Inagua, Mayaguana, Crooked Island, and Auckland. Family Island administrators have all been briefed and stand ready alongside our partners at the Royal Bahamas Defense Force to activate shelters in these districts if the need arises. The shelters in these islands include on Auckland, the Auckland Community Center in Spring Point, Crooked Island, the Church of God of Prophecy, Landrell Point Community Center, Inagua, St. Philip's Anglican Community Center in Matthewtown, Meguana, St. James Native Baptist Church, Abrahams Bay, Meguana Comprehensive School, Pirates Well, and Betsy Bay Community Center in Betsy Bay. As it relates to the other islands, impact is not currently anticipated for those islands of the Northwest. We continue to closely monitor the path of Hurricane Erin for its impacts that it may have on the central Bahamas. We are advised by the Bahamas Department of Meteorology, and we urge residents of the Central Islands to be ready and make the necessary preparations for possible tropical storm-like conditions over the coming days.
Thank you, Mr. Sargent. We will now open the floor for questions.
A question for Mr. Green.
Yes.
Mr. Green, based on everything that the system is showing, does meteorologists anticipate any drastic shift in the next coming hours?
We don't expect any drastic shift, but as a precaution, we want to have these warnings in place in case, like an eye wall replacement, the location of the system will be a little bit different as that happens. So we don't want it to drift towards the west a little bit more, where we'll be impacted by the outer bands a little bit more in those areas. So we want to make people aware of that this is a precautionary thing. Most of the storm will be out to the east of us, and we hope that it will take the path that they have projected and move away from us quickly. Any other questions? Okay.
I know you spoke a bit to the Southern Islands. Yeah, either we could take this one. What has, I guess, are you able to speak to what response has been like from the residents on the island? Does it seem they are taking heed and making the necessary preparations? Have shelters start receiving people as yet?
No, so shelters have not been activated as yet. Those activations will take place based on guidance from the Bahamas Department of Meteorology. However, we have briefed, as we stated earlier, the administrators, and all of them have been receptive. As I stated earlier, we have implemented a new alert system, which we are understanding that a number of the residents are receiving and taking heed of those notices. Additionally, administrators would have met with their disaster risk management consultative committees earlier this week and have been meeting ongoing as we are in peak season. In particular, I believe in Samanaki, there has been some evacuations in advance, just as a precaution, of members who reside on that key due to the pending conditions worsening, as we expect.
When will shelters be able to take people, considering you said, if I'm not mistaken, they should feel tropical storm conditions by tomorrow?
Once it is necessary, the administrator will guide us on whether or not the conditions on the ground warrant an activation of that shelter. So we are in constant communication. Like I said, our NDEOC is activated, and we are monitoring. Once we get to that point of monitoring, and there is a point that the shelter has to be activated, we will.
Given the distance of those southern islands, and will they depend heavily on ships coming in?
Yes.
Are they properly stocked with supplies that they need?
Yes, the RBDF, we have been in contact with the RBDF. The Lawrence Major is ready and operable and ready to go if the need arises for us to send items to those areas that may be impacted.
So all of those family islands are equipped with the essentials needed?
Yes, at this time, yes.
You noted that in Samanaki that there was persons evacuated ahead as a precautionary. Can you say how many persons?
6 persons.
Have all family islands taken heed of the evacuation as yet, or?
There was no evacuation order given. That was a precautionary measure taken by the administrator as it relates to Samanaki.
So when will they evacuate?
I believe Thursday, earlier this week.
Expand upon the disaster.
So the disaster alert is built on the MACO's alert platform system, and I've noted that while we commenced this press conference, we also received that alert. That allows us under a different ID to receive disaster alerts directly from the DRM Authority. That is something that we've been working closely with our partners at the RBPF, Senior Assistant Commissioner Dames, has greatly assisted our communications team in getting those out. So residents will start to get those dedicated, targeted alerts whenever there is either a warning or watch from the Department of Meteorology or an evacuation order given through the authority.
There's another system right behind Erin, if I'm correct. What will the Bahamas be letting impact from that now, or?
Right now, it's not a system, truly a system. It has about a 10% chance in the next, I'd say, in the next 2 days, and about a 20% chance in the next 7 days. So right now, we're watching it to see if there's going to be any development in the next 7 days, and then based on that, we will further let the public know what's happening with that system.
So just now, you don't anticipate to feel any additional impact from that system on the area?
No, they are totally separate from one another.
In reference to the tropical storm, some of the people that are asking in the live, what are the most aspects of the storm that we should be careful of, or we should be more cautious of in reference to wind, rain, etc.?
Right. So we're going to have the gusty winds up to tropical storm force winds. We expect to have a heavy downpour of rainfall. So we could get some flooding in some areas at the based on where you live. Again, the rough seas are one of the things that we are warning, especially for people who live near the shorelines. That is going to affect those people in those areas. And we're warning boaters to really remain in port or find safety right away. Do not stay out there.
Are there any areas that you guys are most particularly concerned about in reference to flooding, etc., in the Family Islands?
We generally, any area that is low-lying or flood prone, we want them to be aware of that and then take precautions. And places like the Glass Window Bridge, which we know later this week will get some of that rough seas. We want people to be aware that maybe that bridge will have to be closed for a time period until the seas and the winds subside.
Are you convinced that all of these shelters are ready to house residents
Oh.
the activation?
Yes, all of our shelters, as we have published on June 1st, are ready and ready to receive if the needs arises once they are activated. This year, the authority would have implemented a new more robust shelter inspection process, which were led by teams from the authority, along with Ministry of Works and several other government entities that conducted detailed inspections that provided us details such as capacity, structures. Not every shelter from our previous listing was approved to go back on the new listing this year. And that's because of that comprehensive inspection process that took place. So yes.
How many shelters do we have?
Approximately 144, I believe, that's on the listing.
Now, you noted that persons from Sinaki have evacuated precautionary. Can you just stress how important it is for persons to understand if they are asked to evacuate, to please evacuate and not take it with you?
So again, this is one of the things that the authority has been promoting, which is in our legislation, it calls for evacuation orders. Once the authority upon the and the Prime Minister gives that evacuation order through the authority, we encourage residents to heed that. Not heeding that evacuation order in times past, there was still where we put first responders at risk, and they were allowed to go and make rescue efforts for those who did not heed evacuation orders. The law allows us not to send or put those first responders at risk, and so you may be cutting off yourself from assistance during that time. And so we encourage residents, once we don't take those, you don't provide those evacuation orders lightly. Once those are given, please heed those warnings. As we've seen in the past, rapid intensification of these storms do not allow much time to prepare. And so once we give those orders and directives, we encourage residents to take that and proceed to your nearest shelter, take the advice, especially in those Family Islands, of the Family Island administrators, and follow those.
Granted the fact that it's a tropical storm, we're now in Category 4, I believe, of the tropical storm, Erin?
No, so it's Category 3, but it's a hurricane. However, we will receive tropical storm-like conditions on the southeastern islands.
How imperative it is for our Family Islands to take this seriously?
We encourage residents to take any sort of warnings that we give when we come and host these press conferences, to take these very seriously. As we can see, rapid intensification over the course of the last 48 hours. Hurricane Erin has fluctuated in speed. The pathway has been volatile. And so again, the time that it takes to prepare, we encourage residents, while you have time, to please prepare and listen to the notifications, the updates provided by the Bahamas Department of Meteorology, as well as the DRM Authority when it comes to these storms. We encourage residents not to take it lightly, as we've experienced devastation before from these storms.
How much rainfall are you expecting?
3 to 6 inches.
You mentioned the winds already, sir, in reference to the winds of the hurricane.
Yes, tropical storm force winds, generally winds around 34 to around 50 knots could be felt within the area where we have the tropical storm conditions. But if you're out of the tropical storm conditions, you're around 25 to 35 knot winds.
And you consider those winds to be highly gusty.
Yeah, they're very gusty, yeah. Okay.
Thank you, and we also want to remind that there are resources available to the public on our website, getready.gov.bs. As our managing director mentioned, we're always encouraging a state of readiness across the country, so please use those resources. They are available for you. And with that, we will bring this press conference to a close.